Democratic Party, as a responsible political party, deems it necessary to speak out on critical matters in our democratic journey, not only to expose the truth behind the National Democratic Congress deceptive politics, but also to assure the people of Ghana that we remain committed to progress, unity, prosperity of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, today we are going to have a discussion on three important issues. First of all, we are aware that His Excellency the President outdoored the well-publicized code of conduct for his appointees. Flowing from that, we've had some incidences. We'll be discussing that. And that will be the Sammy Gyamfi Agradaa scandal, and then also the A+ Attorney General scandal, and then other matters will also follow. Ladies and gentlemen, on Saturday, 10th May 2025, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, who is also the acting CEO of Gold Board, was seen in a widely circulated video doling out fresh United States dollars notes to a known controversial figure, Evangelist Patricia Odro, aka Nana Agradaa. The act, which has been condemned, and rightly so, by well-meaning Ghanaians and institutions, including international bodies and other CSOs, like the Transparency International, is a patent indiscretion which breaches several laws of the land, and more importantly, mocks and makes nonsensical the recently code of conduct by President Mahama. Among the several laws breached by the National Communications Officer and the acting CEO of Gold Board are the Foreign Exchange Act, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and then also the Code of Conduct, which was outdoored by His Excellency the President just about a week ago, exactly a week ago. Among the several laws breached by Sammy Gyamfi are Section 3, 1, and 4 of the Foreign Exchange Act, Act 723, which prohibits a person engaging in the business of dealing in foreign exchange without a license issued under the Act. Dealing in foreign exchange under the Act includes the receipt or payment of foreign currency, which Sammy Gyamfi is seen to have been doing in the video. The law, in its letter and spirit, prohibits stacking of dollars as it maintains the Ghana cedi as the sole legal tender. The cedi is the sole legal tender. We don't have multiple legal tenders in Ghana. You would recall that the Bank of Ghana has over the years issued several notices cautioning that without an authorization from the Bank of Ghana, no person is permitted to advertise, price, pocket, receive, gift, make payment of goods and services in foreign exchange, including United States dollars. And this action by the Bank of Ghana is important because it helps in stabilizing our city. The penalty for such violation includes a fine or imprisonment up to 18 months. Exactly a week ago, President Mahama unveiled the code of conduct for his appointees, and the president is reported to have said that the code of conduct articulates the core values his administration expects from appointees. Please pay attention. The core values his administration expects from his appointees: integrity, honesty, impartiality, respect, decency, incorrigibility, competence, and professionalism. The president further stressed that all conduct must meet standards capable of withstanding closest public scrutiny. Section 1(2) of the code Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is required to manage his personal affairs in a manner that withstands the closest public scrutiny. And under Section 1.3, he was to take responsible care to maintain the integrity and reputation of the office he holds. Unsurprisingly, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, like an incorrigible child, has blatantly violated both obligations under the code, and the president must, in accordance with Section 6 of his pledge, at page 9 of the code, deal swiftly and decisively with Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. It's important. The president, it was well publicized. It received a lot of commendation from so many people. Now, a week or just less than a week, this happens where his own appointee is seen displaying opulence. We find ourselves in a very distressed situation. And yet, if you have your appointee who is doling out dollars, that is serious. And we call on the president. If the president is unable to act on this matter, then the code of conduct must be shredded. It's of no use. It's useless. If the president is unable to act on this matter, ladies and gentlemen, the irony of the present circumstance is that not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi a loud critic of Honorable Cecilia Dapaah for some months ago, but he was equally very critical of Her Ladyship Justice Tokuno few weeks ago because the Judicial Service paid for tickets in dollars, although this was the required currency transaction in such matters and also well situated within the travel policy of the Judicial Service. We say without fear of contradiction that in the absence of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi providing direct evidence of the source of funding, thousands of United States dollars found in his car, seen in the video widely circulated on social media, these funds are proceeds of unlawful or criminal enterprise by Mr. Sammy Gyamfi. Section 1 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Act 1044, makes the possession, concealment, conversion, disguise, or transfer that is or forms part of an unlawful activity an offense punishable by a term of imprisonment or up to 10 years. Do not forget that this is the same section, the same provision Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, the same provision he used in criticizing Madame Cecilia Dapaah, and he says that it was clear. This is the same provision. We call on the lawful establishment investigative agencies of state, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, and the Criminal Investigation Department, CID of Ghana Police, to investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in his short tenure as acting chief executive officer. And again, you are being told that all appointees, including ministers, they have not even received their salary since they had their appointment. All of them. That is the information we have. To investigate the activities of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi in a short tenure as acting chief executive officer of both PMMMC and the Ghana Gold Board. These bodies must search all his houses, probe any properties acquired in his stay so far in government, and if possible, prosecute him for failure to show the source of huge sums of money found in his possession, out of which he gleefully sprayed some around. And we all saw the video. We all saw the video and how he counted the dollars as if it was a counting machine. very, very fast. And afterwards, and you saw where he even picked the money from. You could see that, yes, you have a lot of it stacked in there. And then how he cleverly was counting the money to Madam Agradaa, and then Madam Agradaa also, out of insufficient spirit, grabbed all. Obviously, she saw that there were a lot of dollars stacked in there. So that is how come she could again grab all the dollars. And this is a serious matter. We note that section 55(2) of Act 1044 stipulates that in a trial for an offense under the Act, an accused person, in this case, Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, may be presumed to have unlawfully acquired a property if the accused person is in possession of a property which the accused person cannot account for, and which is disproportionate to a known source of income of the accused person. Note that he has not taken any salary since his appointment. So clearly, the money he doled out obviously is disproportionate to his income. We also call on the President to immediately interdict Mr. Sammy Gyamfi as an acting Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Gold Board. Or at least, he should interdict him pending the conduct of the investigation by the criminal investigative authorities of the state. We cannot but remember when huge sums of money, and this is the principle here, please let's pay attention. We cannot but remember that when huge sums of money was reported to have been stolen from the residence of Madam Cecilia Dapa, a woman who had worked in high places for over 40 years before the incident, had been NP since 2001, as well as a deputy minister and also a minister. And she is married to a well-known rich architect and a consultant, well-known, with nearly 60 years experience in the profession. She was made to resign. This principle is cardinal. Under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, a similar issue happened. Madam Cecilia Dapa was made to resign immediately by the president. Investigations were duly conducted by the OSP against Madam Cecilia Dapa and her husband. After what the OSP described as 7 months of extensive investigation and 4 months of collaborative investigation, it concluded that their investigation did not establish any evidence of corruption, corruption-related offenses, or procurement breaches against the suspect. We require the same standard to be applied here. Same standard to be applied here. And let me also say that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi again is on record on several TV programs during the Madam Cecilia Dapa saga, and I quote him, "Once money is found in your custody and you cannot account for the money, and that money is disproportionate to your income, you shall be deemed to have committed the offense of money laundering." Madam Cecilia Dapa resigned during the whole brouhaha, as I said, and again we require the same principle to be applied. Again, on the matter of Her Ladyship Chief Justice Tokuno, in an interview with Asempa FM Okusisen, he stated that the Chief Justice should be sacked for using state funds in dollars in her medium of exchange instead of the Ghana cedis, which is exactly the same act he engaged in last Saturday. per his own assertions, then it means he must be sacked. That is exactly what he said. And these are principles. And this is his own sword. And he must. He must be on his own sword. Even more ironical is the fact that Mr. Sammy Gyamfi presently heads the Gold Board. This is very important matter, and this is issue of governance, which is being touted by this government as being the backbone for the stabilization of the city through the maintenance of sufficient gold reserves. Do not forget that the establishment of the Gold Board, one of the arguments for the establishment of the Gold Board was to centralize all businesses, all dealings regarding gold, to stabilize the city. This argument was made widely. If Mr. Gyamfi, the CEO who is responsible for maintaining sufficient reserves to support, to help, and to prevent the depreciation of the city, to stabilize the city, possesses dollars in his daily routine. And we say daily routine because when you go for a funeral 1 week and you have dollars packed in your car, then the indications are that that is your modus operandi in terms of spending. That is how you spend. That is the money you use. Because if you are just going for 1 week and you have tens of thousands of dollars in your car. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, again, then clearly he has no confidence in our city. And if you are superintendent over an institution which, as part of its mandate, is to help stabilize the city, that is the only legal tender, and I've already mentioned that. And if you have the head who superintends over this institution doling out dollars instead of the city, then it means that the person or the CEO, acting CEO, lacks confidence in the Ghanaian city. And that is key. And that is the more reason why we are of the view, the New Patriotic Party, and I speak for the party, we are of the view that if he is unable to stand firm, if he is unable to defend the city, if he is unable to protect the city, and he will rather be displaying dollars, then it means he cannot superintend over the same institution seeking to stabilize the city with gold reserves. But let me also state on record that under the gold purchasing program of the New Patriotic Party, our gold reserves as a country, which stood at 8.7 tons, for the last 40 to 50 years, grew to about 30.53 tons as at the fourth quarter of 2024. This program is one of the major reasons why we are seeing the appreciation of the city. Again, yesterday, the minority in parliament also had a press conference where they also mentioned the allowances, the salaries of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi, referencing the minority press conference yesterday. The state cannot be paying Mr. Gyamfi hefty salaries and allowances for him to be undermining the very currency which is at the heart of his mandate. The state provides the following for Mr. Gyamfi: a gross basic salary annually 1.5 million, subject to an annual review an upward adjustment of 15%, 1.5 million a year. Hold on, that is not the only amount. Hold on. Let's go step by step. Hold on. Clothing allowance of 15% of annual salary, payable once per annum by year end. So the 15 million I just mentioned, he is entitled to clothing allowance of 15% of his annual salary. So he's entitled to 15% of 1.5 million, which is supposed to be his clothing allowance. Hold on, travel with me, hold on. Provision of 2 security officers or 6,000 each officer as an equivalent. 1 gardener or 4,000 Ghana cedis as a cash equivalent. Full medical cover for him, his spouse, and up to 5 children. Provision of 2 cars with full maintenance and insurance. Fuel allocation of 1,005 liters of fuel monthly. Fuel allocation, do your own mathematics, 1,005 liters of fuel monthly for each official vehicle. The official vehicle may be sold to Mr. Gyamfi upon a contract expiration or termination per the company's asset disposal policy. 30 working days of paid vacation annually. 30 working days of paid vacation annually, exclusive of public holidays. So anywhere in the world, if he decides to go to Bahamas, if he decides to go to wherever, if he decides to go there, the state is responsible to pay fully all the expenses for this vacation. Airfare up to $10,000 upon proof of per diem. Per diem of USD $2,000 a day. So if he travels for 30 days, it means he's going to receive $2,000 a day. For 7 days, payable in advance for annual familiarization tour. Business class travel tickets for official duties and $2,000 per diem per day of travel. Annual performance bonus subject to set targets and in accordance to the company's bonus policy. An unspecified CEO-related benefit shall be paid at the prevailing CEO's rate plus 20%. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. Somebody said A. Let me repeat. Personal accident and life insurance cover valued at 5 times the CEO's annual salary. The annual salary is what? 1.5 million. It is palpable, unethical, and a complete betrayal of the public trust for Mr. Sammy Gyamfi to receive all these benefits on the back of helping maintaining a steady currency, yet fail to have any iota of confidence in the Ghana cedi to the extent of using United States dollars as his currency of daily use. Ladies and gentlemen, it may have escaped many observers of this unfortunate incident, but not only, and this is an important aspect, not only was Mr. Sammy Gyamfi giving out United States dollars without restraint, but Mr. Gyamfi also engaged in patent opulence on ostentation of just after 120 days in government. On the day in question, Mr. Gyamfi was being driven in a 2025 fully spec'd Range Rover autobiography valued at $350,000. Fresh, it was fresh Range Rover autobiography, fresh, tear rubber, fully spec'd autobiography, Range Rover, 2025 model, $350,000. The question that should engage the minds of well-meaning Ghanaians and how Mr. Sammy Gyamfi can afford all these things under 120 days of being in government, and if they are gifts, who are these persons gifting him, and what relationship do they have to his work as CEO? If within 120 days in office, appointees of Mr. Mahama have become culpable of such opulence and ostentation, then the years ahead will be indeed a telling story. Already, there is a loud cloud of corruption hanging around President Mahama's appointee. Following the indictment of Dr. Ayene, his Attorney General, as involved in corrupt activities, Article 88 of the Constitution is very clear. And I'll come back again to Sammy. But just about some few weeks ago, the Attorney General was accused of being a thief and being a corrupt person. In his defense, he said that A+ is saying so because he went for some monies from a certain businessman called Dr. Sledge. And that is why A+ is saying so. Now, A+ comes back, says that no, that is not what I'm referring to. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis. He's specific. He has mentioned the amount. I am referring to the 500,000 Ghana cedis you went for. And the reason for this money was to go and bribe the appointment committee of parliament, because you were appearing before the appointment committee. Now, he goes on to say that he is a stupid fool and he will reset his mind. Again, when the Attorney General attempted to respond, he says that A+ should not go there, and if A+ wants us to play in the mud, in the dirt, he is prepared. He can dirty himself. He can play in the mud, because where he comes from, they have been playing in the mud. So as for mud, he's not afraid of mud. Who says we want our Attorney General to be playing in the mud? Who? Who said? And you see, that is why I brought this constitution. In fact, the only minister with an elaborate mandate captured in the constitution is the Attorney General. Article 88 is clear. And indulge me. There shall be an Attorney General of Ghana who shall be the Minister of State and the principal legal advisor to the government. The Attorney General shall discharge such other duties of legal nature as may be referred to or assigned to him by the President, or imposed on him by this Constitution or any other law. 3. The Attorney General shall be responsible for all the initiation and conduct, of all prosecutions of criminal offenses. All offenses prosecuted in the name of the Republic of Ghana shall be at the suit of the Attorney General or any other person authorized by him in accordance with any law. 5. The Attorney General shall be responsible for institution and conduct of all civil cases on behalf of the state, and all civil proceedings against the state shall be instituted against the Attorney General as a defendant. 6, and final. The Attorney General shall have audience in all courts in Ghana. So if you have your Attorney General who is unable to respond to such serious allegations, he is unable to respond to these allegations well, but then he says that, first of all, he's been advised to proceed to court But then he will not do so because he's been given a mandate by the president. He wants to concentrate. I found that weird. Look, in your daily practice, you always go to court. If somebody says you are a thief, you are corrupt, you have gone for 500,000 Ghana cedis to bribe appointment committee so that you can sail through vetting. And the person says that you are a stupid fool and is going to reset your mind. And you are telling Ghanaians that you are not going to go to court. You will not proceed to court. Why? Because you are focusing on your work. Meanwhile, court is where you live, is where you sleep, is your home. So, is it not scary? Is it not scandalous that Attorney General says that a member of his own majority caucus, an MP, not just anybody like me and you, an MP says that you are a thief, you are corrupt, you have gone for 500,000 Ghana cedis, and all you can say is that you can play in the mud. As for you, you can swim in the mud. So A+ should bring it on. And then you are rather inviting us to ask A+ what he knows about the NSS scandal. What is our business? Is that supposed to be our business? You have the prosecutorial powers. You are the man in charge. And you are telling us to go and ask A+ what he knows about the NSS scandal. Look, this is below the belt. And as I've just read to you, for an Attorney General to be saying that I can play in the mud, and we are being told that A+ just apologized. So what now? It is going to be an apology spree. People commit offense, and they are told to apologize, and so now we are going to live in a nation of apology. Everything is apology. So A+ apologizes, and then Sammy also apologizes, and then we leave it there. No. It's important for us to hold these appointees to account for their actions. Attorney General, you cannot say that you want to play in the mud. We do not want an Attorney General to dirty himself. No, that is not what we want. And again, we expect His Excellency the President not to sweep this under the carpet. These are serious allegations. And all we see is that A+ goes back to pull down the post and is made to apologize, and that is it. Mr. President is being put to the test on his commitment to the very values he sought to espouse exactly a week ago when he outdoored the code of conduct. The entire world is waiting with bated breath on further actions by President Mahama, considering the actions of Mr. Sammy Gyamfi and the Attorney General, who says that I want to play in the mud, I want to dirty myself. We want to see some action from President Mahama. We call on the President to show leadership, to act swiftly, decisively, and not to give Mr. Gyamfi and the Attorney General a pat on their backs for this reckless conduct. It is crucial to underscore the necessity of adherence to governance practice in line with constitutional and legal provisions. And this is an issue I really want to raise with you, and follow me on this. That guide the conduct of public officers in Ghana. You recall that in 2017, former President Akufo-Addo, through the National Executive Committee of the New Patriotic Party, issued a directive mandating that all party officials who had been appointed to governmental positions by President Akufo-Addo must resign from their political party roles in adherence to best practices in governance and accountability. So if you recall, even our current General Secretary, he was the then Ashanti Regional Youth Organizer. When he was appointed CEO, he resigned. A whole lot of ministers, Tutuko Afisa Jaba was the National Women Organizer. She also resigned. Mr. Mewu from Volta region resigned. Of blessed memory, Honorable Ashiti, Greater Accra Minister, also resigned. Honorable Ajay Suwa as Mayor also resigned. The names, a lot, they resigned. Today, what do we see? It is important to note that a similar practice does not appear to have followed under the current National Democratic Congress. Several individuals, while holding influential governmental positions, continue to hold dual roles that may pose concern in terms of governance practice, legal stipulations, and ethical standards. Specifically, the following individuals remain in both political and public office, raising critical issues about potential conflict of interest and the need for compliance with relevant legal norms. The National Youth Organizer of the NDC, George Opare Ado, is a minister now. He's still the National Youth Organizer. Mr. Sammy Gyamfi is the National Communications Officer. He has not resigned. And he's still their Communications Officer. Basim Tali is still Deputy Communications, and Abisu, who is with the Minerals Investment Fund, is also still there. Osman Ayaraga is also at post. Meanwhile, he's at NCA. Ruth Sedo is with the NSS. He's still holding on to his post. Mustafa Gbande is at the Office of the Presidency. He's still holding on to his post. Elikem Kotoko is now the Deputy CEO for Forestry Commission. Mr. Omane, Dr. Omane Buama, he's the Defense Minister. He was in charge of the elections. He's not resigned. I recall that even when I was elected as a National Youth Organizer, I resigned from Deputy Executive Director of NSS. Also, all regional and constituency executives who have been appointed into key government positions are still at post. I go to Ashanti region, their regional secretary is the regional minister, he's still at post. You go to Eastern region, I think the women organizer also was their women organizer, and today he's still at post. The retention of these dual roles by political appointees under the NDC administration raises significant legal concerns regarding the Constitution of Ghana, particularly Article 94, which disqualifies a person from being appointed a member of parliament or a public officer if they hold dual offices that are inconsistent with the principles of public service. Furthermore, Section 2, this is more important, Section 2 of the Public Services Act prohibits public officers from engaging in business or holding any other positions that might undermine their impartiality and efficiency in their official capacities. The continued holding of political appointments alongside public office positions undermines the principle of neutrality in public service, and these individuals remain bound by their party loyalties, which could affect their objectivity and ability to serve the state effectively. In the light of all these considerations, it is imperative for the government to reassess the position of individuals holding dual appointments and and ensure that the requisite legal framework are strictly adhered to. The principle of separation of powers between political and public roles is not just a matter of legal compliance, but is central to maintaining public trust, ensuring the integrity of state institutions, and upholding the principles of good governance. We urge His Excellency the President to take immediate steps to rectify this situation by ensuring that all political party holders who have been appointed to public office, especially those holding political positions, comply with the relevant provisions, and also, as we said, because of good governance principles, they must resign. The clear delineation of political roles and governmental functions will reinforce the credibility of the administration and strengthen public confidence in the democratic process. We thank you very much for coming, and we hope that we'll be engaging you we are waiting for the outcome of His Excellency the President. Now, Mame Mwone Tofa Ewo Twi. Abusuanfo beda mo ase. Ene se ye frɛ mo baya, edi kan ye beda mo nyama ase na no demonstration amu nyina mu gina mu ma ye ma no ye kama no. Ekoye ye beda mo ase. Enche bia no ye bekoso abodahuro afa enema bi ni anamontu a ye ba bitu ho. Na ene adetitu nti a ye hia wo ha efa amamu ho. Encha ye na yewura Mahama ede krata ba ya watu din eye code of conduct. Code of conduct na se nyanya ne se eye krata wakuchiri. Se ne be ya eye omo a wapa omo so mbe ye adwuma o na aban mu no. Omo de ebe ye adwuma na ama amamu no ayefe. Eni na wotwe kra. Ena ye hu se the National Communications Officer of the NDC, NIBM, acting CEO, Gold Board. Wako a year say, no. When ye a year, Bronisika $CB. Or dear Mami Agradaa. Now, here's the canon send an OC kind of baby in Agradaa as I shim, Yaka in Asa account. Now, near near one say. Sir, a young National Communications Officer of the party was acting Gold Board CEO. Yera Mahama. And some of them go for no more Kenyan say, and ya dia won sa ubetime dia ka eya branche san say oyo golden boy. Untimi nya ho hwe. Untimi nya bibia na kasa kwa. In fact, all social media so asema mo kan no. Nanso no ade a waye no ya ade a ekire eye ahokyira Ghana for film ene enema bo akosoro na wo hwe obi ono no hwe gold board so na wayi sika $2 na odi ache ano hye etietia Ghana mra u code of conduct na ankasa odi ba he no ebu nanimtia se opani Mahama anye hu bibia ye kira ni se eye u code of conduct na odi ba he se be kra ta keke emunye du ebe ye mframa o kasa keke na menye ni se sa na apese wo mamu no esiko no na ebi asipen eye abrante Sammy Gyamfi kuro ye ebra ma Mrs. Ladapa asemba ya yesi akwako hu sika bi woni fie abrante ya na kan se ma me yenyini firi ho yewura Akufuado out of good governance amamuo a opese mu dan find no oma oba pani ojina djuma firi nsem anaso ma ne resign ye ne aye kan se na no bi se ye de sa aba no bo tachi a yesi ye nei yemfa nya dai yemfa boba wei aye ni tie se esi dan na obi a yenya ntua ne ka o na enei ono watimi enya $2 so wo hwe kwan so ofa so yi $1 na wotimu se bebregu ho pa na usa hwe ebiem ka na otimu a ode koye na no ana Yero Mahama kasa okan bibi se na point is no they should eschew opulence and ostentation ye chenya ne se akesesem se ye disika kire on person na point is ni be sa ene isa wo hwe car na Yewura Sammy Gyamfi kura dem 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a team no de ko ye keke so wo hwe ye Ghana ye mramu 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a team no de ko ye keke so wo hwe ye Ghana ye mramu 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a team no de ko ye keke so wo hwe ye Ghana ye mramu 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a team no de ko ye keke so wo hwe ye Ghana ye mramu 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a team no de ko ye keke so wo hwe ye Ghana ye mramu 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a team no de ko ye keke so wo hwe ye Ghana ye mramu 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a team no de ko ye keke so wo hwe ye Ghana ye mramu 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a team no de ko ye keke so wo hwe ye Ghana ye mramu 2025 Range Rover autobiography fully spec $350,000 and a we hear the Foreign Exchange Act, we hear the Anti-Money Laundering Act. Niye kan say akutia. Ebiem sa wo hwe enyema kesia akatua kra ye de ma ne ya ne say eye gold ya ye ka ho asemu nyina ne de gold board abai. Ni dwumadi kese ba akopa aban ame ate ase ne say e baba be so ye sidinim. Ebe ma ye sidina ye agina. Na opani a ono no wo gold board. Na o hwe se ye sidini begina no. Onje ye sidini ndi. $80 na oye dey all che. And this is serious lack of confidence in our city. Chese wama yen ye sika na ye die no. Emu gidie die wato no asawram. Obuna nim tia onfa nya hwe. Yen ye sika ye dia eno ne ye sebra bebo ho ban na nke nei entimi nyina no wo ba wo de sid nanim nyam atwitwi fom eno ne ade ana wonso nyese sebe wo ye obi akeke o sebe nko obi akeka enuafo nka ye mfre nsenchofo dwumadi eye Ghana ban sa wo hwe eye aketua kra na mo se ye metua ne kana ano hye eye afimu bia no obeje 1.5 million Ghana cedis titi sika no 15 billion and obeje uyi anu free man na no so kwa no yesa timitum ohamu nchichemu edunum utimitum after every 2 years bia no utimi esa kiremu entade obehye menu mienu dia ye hye kama entade obehye no ono no de no aban ye fa ho ka 15% of the annual salary into your calculation now 150,000 Ghana cedis de ban say on fanton tade na sabi watade show wo kwa to ne say atade show wo to ne say and na yetwa 150,000 and for more kwabrane say on fanton tade nche any shoes enche ni security for yetuaka yobedo do ne garden mu yetuaka sika sema ye kan nyina ne na katua ya kan nyina no eno nka sika ode ko hospital ho ni sika ni hospital ni bibia ne manum ne anya ne yire mu nyina no aban asai afa ho ka petrol 1,005 liters ya fa ho ka omo ankomu nim kunta no komma me how many gallons 1,005 liters no ha me no nko ano ye se tua ka ansana ya sama no car mienu a ontwie ansana eye okwa ahomegye mu so opeso okoba bi ko gigi nani kakra wa bre wa ya adwuma bre no okwa eno so ban fa ho nya ka yetwa business class ma no ni hotel ka ya fa ho ka ni bibia ya sama no 2,000 a day per diem dollars o aside aka ho aside ma no and $2,000 is 24,000 Ghana cedis. And no gina day. And no gina day. Et in ya can say, Abaya shall say. Now say a buoy ye sit in any mutiadia. Near yes, sir, on penny say, Nadaroma. Sabe. Sanya Nano, a sea ya. A year, your mamma Mrs. Yadapa, and no crown. Oh, SPA, Shamudia Bassa Mamma no crown, no day, no song. Asisi kanu no ane dia ono oyobi a waye adwuma emfie duanan ne kunu sika kra de etese mpo no anwea woye architect over 60 years of experience 60 years an international consultant obi ani so oskapa one of the richest architects we have in Ghana na se enei obi akokotu sika no kra no yese anti money laundering act no wa fomra no etino yenyinedi enei or resign here it is ene sa na no bi ena sa asemi ya enei it is only fair say employer ramahama maninsi nchen ye mfa hwehwemu mra because ne atie no kra so mokra ye ntua omoka ene enei omanya sika aye sa dwumadie nyina na ade ba ko a na a se fem so dwumadie nyina ho ne se achopa de ye achopa ye pa obi fom a na opo acho a anuafo na mo de ache na eno nkyerɛ sɛ ofom mmara na o so wapa acho niama wo na no A+ na Attorney General baba be ka kyerɛ sɛ ɔno de A+ ya ɔno ne be di efi mu agro na atɛkyɛ mu agro de ne de tete no to ɔno de obetumi atete atɛkyɛ de aye no na wan na si Attorney General na yɛpɛ so ɔtete atɛkyɛ de ye no enuafo mo ha minyi ni sɛ mo bɛpɛ sɛ ya Attorney General no onware wa atɛkyɛ mu onware ofin mu ɔntete fi nya ne ho wo hwɛ constitution medical kan sɛ wo hwɛ ne dwumadi ne yɛkɛse pa ɔno na yɛ lawyer ni pani egyina hɔ ma Ghana ban ɔno na yɛ lawyer ni pani kɛse pa egyina hɔ ma Ghana ban na sɛ lawyer ni pani kɛse ya ka kyerɛ sɛ wo wakɔ akɔgye sika 500,000 adamudeɛ ɛde ba be ma appointment committee parliament sɛ ne bɛyɛ a wo go through parliament and you see, kona ko sai wuti fa court house dey be court na dia obeko atinte huro be ne tua wo tonti a wuntimi hwere ntreja dey nti na wuntimi nko because e bia wo de A+ kwa ba wo so be kana sem enti wo se en de wo nko nanso no wo di nkofo bi kokoto saa ade a kwadu a de bowi se wo ye kromfo wo no keta ase hye ne proye dware wo kwa akɔgye sika de abrem na hye bedwefo no wo nso no wo di nkofo bi pese wo de wo kokota wo nso na wo se se wo charge omo for corruption but one so no ye de BBC ato so Yewura Muhammad say one me anya san hwehwemu ye wi ane sisi Attorney General anamwa obi adwemu ni say ya Attorney General odware atechem ya Attorney General oyekromfo ya Attorney General wakɔgye ademude ya Attorney General ene ekono de bia bon siniti ayekono sa na wokɔ san say adwen a ye di hu no enti ho si etimi sign niti ho si etimi sign niti mi hu bi da sa to na no wo bɛka ya Yewura Godfrey Dame wo ho ɛna NDC fokofa tape bi o mo akatekate no mo de asisi ani ɛno mo se Yewura Godfrey Dame ɛne Jakwa edi nkomo ɛno kɔ mo frɛ no criminal ɛna nse ya o si ensam mo kan no ebia o na wiase de wo ho wo yi ofo nsa no ahwɛ won nsa no ofo no se nipa woni nipa nsa se enti wo yi ofo nsa no no ahwɛ won nsa because ansema na no mo kan ya mo se Godfrey Dame edidi na tem sansa mo se oni obi akokasa no ene ya Attorney General de ono no yese wo ye kromfo yese wo ye awi yese wo kwa akɔgye adamude 500,000 Ghana cedis e de bread appointment committee in parliament mutini yo ono no onfa nipa no court no nko sign ni tia o se da bi court ya de obekɔ na onko se na da je wo me won so de bi court na wote ɛhɔ na odidie ɛhɔ na woda ɛhɔ esi akwa de office utu na ya na wadu high court wo so wontimi fa nipa no court na o concentrate on me wa nipa na gu ho fi waka asem tia be ka asem so a wo se A+ ni be kyerɛ yɛn ade a onim fa NSS ho ɔno na ɛba be kyerɛ yɛn Attorney General wona tumi nya ekura wo Ghana nyira no tumi kura wo sa wo na wo de obedi yɛn sɛ ɔma yɛ obe yɛn na yɛn konko busa A+. Now where from this pension for any as a media trial na ya the media for aba na ye kan sem a enim Attorney General no kwasem ni wagu ne ho fi Attorney General enkasa saa wonni mo dwumadi e wo constitution ma ye nya de saa asem nso a ye de ato ne tiri so no wonhwe no nsan ne ti Yewura Muhammad asodie kese mienu e da wo so die wa code of conduct a wo de baaye ene emu nsem no ne ye pie bani ebie ma de ba kwa ya se hu ne se ene NDC e baaye o my appointment bebre a o mu bu o man no na ya wo omo ano omo ye NDC national officers be regional officers impo even constituency officers ene ya pa omo e wa ban mu na ado danko Akufo-Addo etwa asebi to ho mo be ka ya 2017 na ado danko Akufo-Addo in consultation with the National Executive Committee of the party e de enhye bi ba say obi bia ya fa wo adwumam e wa ban mu na wo sai kura party de bre no jaito obi bia jaito eno no ade eboa ne se Emma nipa no nya adwempo. Emma ordinary esi adwuma a ɔyɛ no so no ahe ne yie. Eboa ma amamuo pa edadi. Etuwa hwa enei me ame boss ɔyɛ current general secretary no ɔyɛ Ashanti regional youth organizer. Obeye why CEO no resign here. And the deputy Bashiru no resign here. Regional ministers ahodo bebre omba enya honorable architect of blessed memory or resigning from Greater Accra region chairman Amewu. Yet the NDC headquarters na wa dabraka no. Ya peja ne dia kwa kosi Jubilee House. And it is dangerous for good governance. Etienne Ofa National Youth Organizer ono ye minister manenya na djuma on resign ni deputies nyina ba ko NYA Osman Ayarega Ruth ewo NSS omuda so ho Basintali odaso waye Yeru Akodua occupy position ni pen oye ya resign as a regional youth organizer wa Ashanti region I don't know that's award post Yeru Manebo Ama odaso director of elections mi wo osaye minister defense over regions ni ma bebre in fact regional secretary no or northern region on Alaji Loto on NLA bebre all over Elikem Kotoko Yaira Kuku no your IT director and then they call NIA Eric omo nyina no mukuta positions. What we are calling on the president to do is and they would the code of conduct for appointees aba. Say omonye impartial and it's a conflict of interest be aba. It's no omo a wapa omo no eye wapa omo a sha omo no resign send ya nanado danko akufado year 2017. Emma omo a wa appoint omo nyina no e resign ye no. Mo so resigning no mo focusing on governance. It ye be say Ramahama we no boa Emma Ghana no yekoye nim enti ene se frɛ mo baa na adetitu enti frɛ mo baa nyame nhira mo obesa ate nka bi
Ramshafo yada mo nyina mo asa enti mo betra ha ya na ma twɛn mo ai invite mo no nyina mo twɛn no ha ya